An update from Arso Nist. Dearest Coh Munity, I hope this letter finds you well. I can hear your complaint already. Arso Nist, we have not heard from you in years. In fact, we've never heard anything from you at all. Well, if you care to hear excuses, I have plenty. The greatest of them being I've been busy fighting in tropical jungles, unable to reach you by the usual means. I apologize for the long wait, but it is now time to explain the events which happened in my absence. As you likely recall, the last time you heard anything from my employers, Fawcett, was when they restructured my working conditions. Unfortunately, although they had good intentions, their implementation was anything but flawless, which was met with mostly negativity from your side. As a result, they figured that one of my gang members would need to undergo intensive training as a way of negating the damage caused by said reorganization. It was decided that the member in question would be me, and so my gang set out on a journey to a faraway jungle. This was meant to strengthen my fighting capabilities as well as improving my cooperation with the rest of the staff. As fate would have it, the journey took far longer than any of us had expected. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and eventually those months turned into years. The issue was the size of our team, which was, at best, puny. Though, considering no one else could have finished the job, we kept pushing forward. The gratification of you, dear Coh Munity, being the wind in our sail. And it was your love and passion towards our work which made all of this even possible. If it weren't for your support in the form of items and maps that aided us on our quest, I'm certain I wouldn't be writing this letter right now. But I digress. I'm certain you are far more interested in the outcome of our mission. It may delight you to hear that it was not all for nothing. My training yielded positive results. I was able to learn new forms of combat, which would help me in any future situation. I have to admit, my previous role in my team was questionable, irregular at best. I'm sure you were most aware of this, and frankly, I still question why it took my employer so long to improve my condition. What also proved to be of great assistance were the new weapons, which my employer graciously provided me with. I've received not only a new flamethrower, but also a flare gun and a weapon for close quarters combat. I was especially pleased to see that the flamethrower in question allowed me to utilize compressed air to much greater effect than my other ones. This change heavily improved my work morale, as it made good use of a mechanic that was previously merely an afterthought to my arsenal. My gang members also received certain changes to their armory, for better or for worse. I won't specify all the details, otherwise this letter would be far too long. I will point out that some of my associates were rather unhappy with their alterations, whereas other ones were quite pleased. Interestingly, my colleague, a rather heavy-set fellow, greatly benefited from these changes. What makes this remarkable is the fact that he was the one that was also considered as the focus of this training mission. It seems that even though I was the one to get chosen, my employer still deemed him to be in need of critical improvements as well. I also can't forget to mention the shipment of cosmetics my gang and I received. Both you and I know that I place importance on appearance, and these additions to my wardrobe were greatly appreciated. I admit that my previous clothes have been rather noticeable, perhaps even obtrusive, and some of the newer pieces were no exception. But what can I say? I just can't hold myself back when it comes to apparel, no matter how extraordinary. But now I feel the need to address the elephant in the room. It is no secret that my gang was not the only one in the profession, but that there were several other ones. It was you who, on multiple occasions, demanded that my gang should compete with these other groups, in order to see which one outshined the other. It still pains me to no end that our first attempt of doing so was, in the nicest words possible, an outright disaster. You used to give plenty of feedback for the execution of such a competition, but we utterly disregarded them. We should have listened, but we didn't, a mistake whose repercussions are still felt strongly to this day. You may be very glad to hear, however, that we did end up taking your words to heart. Aside from the improvements to my fighting capabilities, this was the biggest focus of this whole expedition. Your advice greatly enhanced our skills required to overthrow the other gangs, which in return improved our chances substantially. While I cannot say that we are as strong as other companies, such as Outlook, when it comes to competitions, I can say that our performance is considerably better at the point of writing than it was at the beginning. You have played a very large role in that regard, and I am immensely thankful for your feedback. I cannot believe I have not talked about my journey itself some more. As I've pointed out at the beginning, the goal of this whole campaign was to strengthen my skills. To achieve that, my gang and I were given certain missions for us to finish. This, of course, was nothing new, as I've pointed out in my earlier updates. This time, however, we weren't just assigned random tasks. Instead, we were given the freedom of picking them ourselves. We would have been satisfied if it had ended there, but we were even able to choose the rewards for accomplishing the missions. This small yet effective change greatly increased my gang's morale. However, for the first few days after arriving in the jungle, we weren't given any missions at all. This was not an isolated incident, as it had happened in the past as well, but I was hoping my employers would have learned from their mistakes by then. Nonetheless, everyone was very eager to finish their tasks, and everyone was very supportive of our company as well. And here we are. I spoke of my return to this shore, and I had promised myself that I would write you as soon as I returned home. It has been a circuitous path to lands I'd never seen before, and upon my return it was surprising to see how much the terrain had changed. Taken all together, my journey has been a great success. I grew stronger as a result, both my body and my mind. I am aware that much time has passed, so much so that few remember me or my gang. Others may have surpassed us, and we may have fallen by the wayside, but I do believe we've left a big mark on history. Unfortunately, my gang has steadily decreased in size, as many of us have passed on already. Thanks to you, however, dearest Coh Munity, our spirit persists and our legacy lives on. As my end is drawing closer as well, I do wish I could have given you this update sooner. We were fighting for ourselves, but if it weren't for you, our battle would have ended much earlier. I hope this letter gives you the clarification you've been wanting all these years. As for me, however, please do not expect any future letters regarding my condition. This is my last update. Yours, with a fiery passion, Arso Nist, the Firebug.